a show on your timeline, Make It Make Sense, Mississippi. I am your esteemed host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab. My co-host, the young man, aka KP, is fighting through all the elements of the weather, the ice storm, and things that are not moving today to get in here with us, so he should be in here momentarily. And of course, my producer, as always, is sitting here with me as we were discussing things affecting Jackson. But welcome back. You know, I like to start each show. I hope that folks were as progressive as they could have been since our last show, which was yesterday. Especially this second part, I say every show, but it's especially big during this storm. As many people that left out from our houses and our families came back. And I do want to take a moment of silence for up to 23, and I know that may be climbing deaths that have happened already, unnecessary deaths that have happened in this state during this ice storm, and for those that you know, just didn't come home for other reasons. But yeah, I know yesterday we talked about some hot topics yesterday. You know, we touched on the ice storms. What did we go into yesterday? We touched on the ice storms.
The Mississippi Rapid Response.
Mississippi Rapid Response. A big shout out to the folks there, not just the Mississippi Rapid Response as a group, but to the people, those people on the ground. You know, I got someone, you know, we were talking yesterday where someone called me back to let some folks know that they had left some things in some of the cities they'd gone to. And the people were really just grateful, you know, and the folks delivering the aid from Mississippi Rapid Responses is basically what they do. So I don't think they were looking at it as anything special. But, you know, a lot of you all, I think, were watching what's happening on the television. You all were watching the response to this storm. Some of you may or may not know that the state of Mississippi called an emergency a few days before the storm. So the funds that are needed to secure ourselves against something like that were here and are here in the States. So that's why you'll hear me say 23 people passing away is unacceptable. That's why you hear me say jails where people's families, Parchman, and others, where people's families had to reach out because there's just credible evidence that there was not enough heat in there, credible evidence that there's no water. You know, those are the type of things that we shouldn't go through when a state is as ready as Mississippi is. I would be amiss to say that, to hold anyone else accountable. Some folks, we may expect them to do what they do, but nonetheless, you know, that was just wrong. I mean, when I looked at it, there was a report that showed me what the state had given, and it was very strange because a lot of folks that I talked to when they were working out in the areas where a lot of our people were, they were not aware that the state had this many resources. They were doing food, they were doing blankets, they were doing cots. They were doing water, they were doing generators to warming centers. I know Mississippi Rapid Response did 5 generators to warming centers in African-American communities. They didn't see any of that coming in. And not to say it didn't come in at some point, but I was just very proud to see us not have to wait on Governor Tate and the rest of the state to decide it was our turn to get help. Yep. And so big up to Mississippi Rapid Response Coalition for for making sure our people didn't have to sit there and wait for their turn. Because that's how it's always been. And folks know what I'm talking about, from the Delta to here. They drop off the aid to the people that matter to them first, and then whatever's left over, if we're lucky, comes to the African-American population. So
seen it too many times.
Yeah, we've seen that too many times. And a lot of the volunteers on the ground were talking about it on the calls. We're just talking about, well, we got to be careful because this is going to happen. And then I think folks came to the reality, you know, we don't need to be careful. We're going to make sure we get things to the people as best we can.
We're going to be prepared.
Yeah, we got to be prepared. I saw a lot of online things where folks were coming to the door and didn't have things. So, you know, I was just proud of our people. You know, sometimes it's not so much about who's not giving you what you're supposed to have. It's about what you all are doing with what you do have. So, you know, we got to keep focused. I know we've released some posts about not just reaching out to your power company, but Mississippi's funny the way it splits up, you know, the power companies. So it also is letting you know about the Public Service Commission. We touched on that yesterday. Just letting you know that while some of these co-ops are definitely regulated themselves through a different board, please understand that the Public Service Commission still can feel complaints for any company that's regulated to offer power in our area. So that's the second part of this. You know, it's not just watching the disproportionate response and sitting home talking about, well, that's the way it is. We've got to start putting them things on paper. And if it's not on paper, then unfortunately it didn't happen, as immoral as that is. So, you know, I would definitely recommend any of you all that know family members that are not getting direct responses. You know, we know that power companies generally are responsible for moving the trees out of the way and then getting to their power lines. Sometimes it can appear to residents as if they're waiting on something other than themselves. So I think understanding those responsibilities are big. Any questions you have like that, you can send us an inbox or just shoot us a message or an email, and we'll be more than happy to dig into the bottom of it. So I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I just think that was, to see that many people pass away, to see, and to see the jails especially, because I think folks thought that wasn't going to come into the public. Just how poorly, I can't even say how poorly prepared they were, because that was the preparation that they were willing to do for those inmates. We're going to stop there. The preparation they were willing to do was this. They just didn't think that those pictures were going to get out. And now you have talk about facial recognition, so that you're going to spend, so you can't keep folks warm in parchment. You can't fix it up, but you can find money for facial recognition to make sure that they don't tell the free world what's going on inside of there. That's just sad to me, because that shows you that that's a level of modern slavery that is being protected because of its efficiency. So yeah, I think, but yeah, look at their website if you need to. If you got friends or families, it just breaks down the Northern District, Chris Brown, Central District, that's R.D. Keith Stamps, Southern District, that's Wayne Carr. I've got a great Q code on there, so if you don't know what ward, I'm sorry, Jackson, what county, your commissioner covers, you can just punch it in there, use the Q code, and it will let you know what district you fall under and what commissioner you should reach out to. And then they can give you some more information on what the turnaround should look like. So, that's one thing. I know we're talking about it. We'll get deep in all of these things, but I know we're going to touch on the water. As our producer said, starting out, we're looking for boil water notices, right? And I haven't seen a lot come out, and we've got to keep looking for them because, with the state of the way things have been, I mean, what would you say? We should at least be seeing
transparency and really top priority. So
that's the key thing. Now, I've spoken before on that, and I thank you for getting my track back on. I've spoken before on that because any organization that intentionally, and I come from a telecommunications company that had a social media arm, and I guarantee you, we never in life would just advertise anything on Nextdoor if we were trying to get customers' attention. I'm just going to say that, and 601-948-5950. I'm not the expert on that, right? The company I work for was the leading company in its industry, right? But I'm not the expert on that. So if you come from a company and you saw it done differently, let us know that. But I've never seen that.
If they've gotten any water notices, we just may not be in the community that got the bat signal, because everything.
And that's a problem in itself, though, because it shouldn't be, the entire community service should be getting that bat signal, for your point. But it may be boil water notices going out. So let us know, 601-948-5950 as the young man approaches. And let us know if you've seen any boil water notices, right? Because we just want to understand whether or not they're going out, or whether, as Dee said, whether they're just not going into the communities that we're in. Both of which are a problem, but just let us know if you've seen any boiled water notices floating around at all. You seen any boiled water notices, KP?
No. I've seen a lot of obstacles on my way.
Get as soon as it comes in. You saw a lot of what?
When I say every obstacle in Jackson was in my way to get
here. Listen.
I'm talking about the train, traffic, the roads, all this stuff, man.
You got caught by that train.
Hey, JP, and I really believe if you know how the nature works.
I know how you came in.
Just by the obstacles, not that way. Yeah. But look, it's almost as if somebody's sitting there just throwing obstacles in front of the young man. Man, we got to keep him off air, man. We can't. Yesterday, he did too much talking yesterday. We got to keep him off air. It gets dangerous when you start talking, but that's where the danger comes. And that's why, look, the funny thing is, as you said, but we're playing around. You don't want to see me angry, Jackson. A lot of people don't realize, and you realize this fully, but a lot of young men and women that I deal with, and I'm teaching them, and when those words are what your anger goes to, when you can control that anger, into not get rid of it, just control it into those words so you can now spew it the way you want to, like you do it like a man. Listen, that's a wrap. But I'm glad you made it in, young man. That's all that matters. How you been since yesterday? Everything else been kosher, aside from the obstacle, of course, getting in?
That cloud on memory a little bit. We still gonna
It's something about getting stuck with that train is there that just bothers you inside your soul,
man. There's nothing you can do.
And then you try. Luckily, you all are much more seasoned than me. I tried to go around and end up right back in the same spot. This is I'm going through someone's yard. This is not working.
You do better sitting there.
It's raining too. It's just
the rain's coming down, and I'm not going to talk about my path in here.
Don't let it stop. It'll stop on you,
man. And then sometimes I swear he's off the train. I'm like, he can't be on the train. This is ridiculous. He's got a kid, but I mean, it's a train. And now look, we're on the other side of the train. They're trying to bring the other side of the train tracks back too. When they're building some type of depot I'm saying this wrong. No, a train stop that's going to be coming through. Oh my goodness! Call us if you know about that. But they're building.
Oh, that's by the bus
Yes.
depot or whatever.
And an elderly, and I say this just out of respect for their experience. A community member told me that the tracks are coming back, and I said, Mr. B, what do you mean by that? He said, well, you look at Florida, you look at anywhere else, you can look at how it was here. We stay on one side of the tracks, and we're not allowed to go to the other side of the tracks. He said the tracks are coming back. And so I'm going to look deeper into that project just to see, because if an elder, I'm the type of person, if an elder tells me the tracks are coming back, I take that much better than any Army report or engineer corps. That elder has been here long enough in second, and he has no reason to lie to me. There's nothing to cover up, no fear of reparations. So, yeah, I definitely want to start digging into that and see why he feels that this incoming project coming near the old bus is
Well, that's like geographical segregation.
Mm-hmm.
That was the line.
That's right.
So
it's coming back. Jackson is rising.
everything else is kind of splitting off, so it's not a hard assumption to make.
Yeah. I think that you're right, and I think that this gentleman just was watching it and just not at all. But I think a lot of people are getting a little bit unhappy with that. Shout out to our listeners. I always like to give you all the shout outs. So when you may KP may not be up as early as I am, but I'm dropping off small children like D. So I'm always listening to the radio. So from the beginning of the day to the end of the night, I just listen when I can. But special shout out to our listeners, right? Because you can hear our audience. You can hear the Make It Make Sense crowd, which I never thought I'd be able to say, right? But you can hear that, man. That doesn't mean anyone following out, because we don't have any ideology, right? We're just trying to make it make sense together. But you can hear that Make It Make Sense call start to come on folks' lines. And it's just really appreciative because of what you're doing to change the reality in Jackson. You no longer are willing to let anyone get on the line and just give their side of the story. And I just want to give you a kudos, because I hear you, even if you think I don't. When you jump on the lines and you're not willing to just let it go with the status quo. Well, no, you know what? I don't like A, B, or C. And you take your blows. Mm-hmm. Whether you're disconnected, whether you're not allowed to talk, you take your blows.
So,
KP.
Well, I was going to say, you finished?
No, I was done.
So,
that trading will cause a problem today.
I was going to say, you know how we got the Mississippi Shuffle? I feel like we got enough going on. We can say that's Make It Make Sense Shuffle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They call in and they feel like something ain't going right, and they question, certain things. Like
Yeah. No, in a big way. And it's not that we see, the beauty is that all we did, if you remember, KP, was we just tried to say it enough that folks could get comfortable repeating what they already knew, because most of our research came from either folks that your family members growing up in it, or talking to the folks from the community. So, and another thing is, I just feel like we have a strong enough point. If you ever wonder why I do that, like when callers call in, I did anonymous, nothing. I take it, it's not, we're not trying to show off and have a chaotic show. I just truly believe all of you deserve a chance to speak. And I believe that if I'm standing on the side of truth, if I'm standing on the side of right, it doesn't matter what you say about the topic. I can respond to you like in a civilized way and let you know how I feel. And I'm gonna tell you another secret. I'm pretty sure about what I'm saying is right. But you should have that confidence, right? But I just want to tell y'all I'm proud of you all. I mean, if you want to call in here and there's some uncomfortable questions for me, for KP, we've shown you going on a year, we're going to answer them. We're going to take the call. And one thing that I do a little special for you all is when I call, I call lighten them up. Sometimes I have to light someone up. I keep you on the line while it's happening, because I never want you to feel like I did something to you off air and you didn't get a chance to respond. And when we were joking, I said, hey, one day that younger me type version gonna come along and light me up, and I'm waiting for it. I'm gonna be happy there, because now I can retire. Now we can move on, and maybe the young man next to me, like, you know what, Tarek, one day we're gonna take a left here. And I'm looking forward for that day, because when I say I'm trying to work, we trying to work ourselves out of a job, I promise you I'm not lying. Because when this is no longer necessary, man, we're in a beautiful place, Jackson. Mississippi, we're in a beautiful place. There you go. Because y'all are beautiful, resilient people. It's just that once we realize, listen, if I see something, I'm going to say something. Now you're starting to see folks get nervous. And Jackson is a great starting point. But look throughout Mississippi. The calls that come in at 90.1 saying, well, why these guys talk about that, come from far outside of just Jackson, which is a good thing. Because that means there's places, whether it's Greensville, whether it's the Delta, whether it's Indianola, there's places we're touching that we're finding out that folks are not doing what they're supposed to do for you. And maybe there's a brighter day around the corner if we can just get ourselves together and start holding these folks accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a big way. So,
and what does it look like now?
Right now, I mean, we're doing it, Jackson. So sometimes you got to remind yourself you're doing it, because you got to put another step in front of another step in front of another step. But it looks like, the awards, I gave Ward 5 shout-outs, kudos yesterday. And a lot of times we don't even always agree on the things that folks are coming up and saying. I may not specifically agree with that. The shout-out is, that you're going up, standing up, and saying something. So you got a line of folks from Ward 5 line up. And start talking about they just haven't been heard for the longest time. And the good thing is they're not sneaking behind Harley's back and whispering it at a bar. It's an open setting where he has the chance to respond. You know, and that's what transparency looks like. We don't want to see anyone railroaded out of anywhere. Real talk, and you got to understand that. We just want folks to do their job.
Yeah.
Instead of acting like being there is the win. So, I mean, yeah, I think that, you know, I think that as we look, when you say what does that look like, I think that we're seeing our city being transformed right now. We're seeing the transformation happening under the new administration. Folks saw a transformation they did or didn't like. Enough folks came out. We've got a new mayor, right? That's what we've been for going on 6-7 months now, right? That's what we're working with. So looking at the transformations that are happening, it's time for Jacksonians to be very, very alarmed, but only because we need to be watching. Because when you say, what does that look like? It looks like moves being made by this administration, including the city council, which are just not setting the majority of African American Jacksonians up for success. We got to start to drill down now. We can't be afraid to ever speak out about ourselves. If it's just affecting everybody, we say that. But when we see that drill down start to happen, Fondren getting taken care of, North Jackson getting taken care of, right? Parts of it, right? When you see that drill down start to happen, gentrification is starting to sneak over there on State Street, not even sneaking, State Street and Meadowbrook, all of downtown getting bought up. When we see this start to happen, the problem is not that those places are being built up. The problem is while they're happening, you are calling in saying, why are they just patching my neighborhood? Why are there not even a basketball net going up? Why is there not a league going up? Why are there not after-school tutoring program going up? Why is there not some type of farming program going up? What is the investment in the children for the rest of us? You know what I call it. The other 70,000. But I think that this administration's response to Blossom Apartments covers it the best. And I'll beat that enough until you realize just how egregious that was.
Nah, I think it's the changing of the vote of the working age. That's what's meant for our
we got 3 of us in there. Each of us got a favorite, right? That's horrible. We shouldn't have that many favorites, and I agree with you. I think dropping the working age is a little more egregious than that. Telling our babies that your future is not in education, but your future is working for folks that have got an education, and that's what you're telling them at 14.
My understanding with all these people, Jeff Good, Andy Gibson, Wayne Fitch, Grant Callen, I can't even remember.
Did the secret interview with Grant? You're right. And right before he spoke to any student at any HBCU here, he did that interview with Grant Callen and refused to go to debate.
You show for a debate with the previous mayor, but you want to stand with all these people that's hurting our city.
So you see this? These are factual. So if you're just listening to our show and you ever wonder, right, why do we talk about candidates? First off, I hope you're talking about candidates. If you're not, that's part of the problem, right? If all you're doing is talking about you like them and you're not talking about what they're doing, good or bad, first, that's part of the problem. I think every voting org, every politician, every church leader, everybody should agree with us on that, right? That if we're not talking about what the politicians are doing, so let's make sure you break us outside the mold of where folks try to put us. Right? Because you have young African-American men, youngish and young African-American men in here talking about, right, the things that matter to our community, about voting, about what our elected officials are doing. You can't even call us off the fringe. We're trying to perfect the process that will allow us to take advantage of those gains our ancestors made. That's right. But you want to run around screaming, we died to vote, and you ain't doing nothing to help folks vote right now. Because you let folks sit in office that aren't doing anything to bring others back up. And that's a large majority of our state right now. So the rest of us, I think, is a perfect title, is a perfect hashtag. And when you all see me put that, the rest of us are just the ones that just don't go into the decision-making process when our leaders sit at the table.
Right. And we know you're sitting there, you know, like the caller, we had a couple calls back. You just sitting there with that number waiting for something to happen. Go on, call in and see what's going to happen. You
did not rub KP the right way with your stalking tactics, caller.
I dare you to call in.
That train that had it ready. KP said, I got something I've been wanting to say. But when you had that knowledge, and then there's a reason, and it's right there. And I never do I fear you when you get on there and start yelling, because I'm very clear on what that information is. But I do think that, you know, when you say what does that look like, KP, just to stay on task, I think that looks like us we can't just keep it on one person. Folks went to Ward 3, said we're unhappy, right? Councilman Stokes, we're going to hold him accountable. Folks went to Ward 5 yesterday, right? Lined up in droves, said, Councilman Harley, we're going to hold you accountable, yep. Right? You know, you got Griselda's a new, as a young lady, Tashia, I think, where Banks was. You know, so each ward, you know, folks are going to discuss based on what they see. And what we don't do is we don't think it's our place to tell you what your ward person is doing. Mm-hmm. But when we talk to you and you tell us how strongly you feel about something, then that is our job at that point to come on this platform and make sure we get that out.
Yeah, in volumes.
Yeah, in volumes. So that was one. I mean, we talked right before you got in, KP, just about the state of Mississippi.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I recently, what was the death toll of the people in the winter storm?
Let me look. It was 23.
I think it was 23 yesterday.
It was 23,
but 25.
My question, just out of 25?
Yeah.
Are they taking because someone just died and incarcerated in MDOC 30 minutes ago, I saw an update. So are they including those, I wonder, in that? If that's coming from the winter conditions?
How they find these people dead? What's the steps y'all take? Because I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
Yeah, all the roads aren't even clear yet, so I'm quite
Reaches
sure.
25 years, that's why, I mean, it's still there, but I don't know if, what were you saying?
I said, I don't think all the roads are even cleared yet,
No.
so that number more than likely will increase.
That number way higher than that.
And this is, it is most likely. And there's 38,900 outages remain. And I wonder where those are. And to your point, 62 public roads have sustained major damage, 20 have sustained minor damage. MEMA has received reports from 51 counties. You got $4 million up front for past issues before this happened. 2 days before you declare an emergency. When you declare an emergency, from my understanding, you open up money at that point when you declare a state of emergency. So,
I mean, didn't Trump release some funds?
yeah, that's the one that Trump released, the $4 million. He released $4 million up front before they even touched Mississippi, even touched what it had. Does it open up money in Mississippi? But if the way I understand it, once you declare that state of emergency, the state emergency funds can then be used. Mm-hmm. So the question that, the proclamation authorizes the mobilization of their own state's assets, resources, and National Guard. So then the governor can then go into his pocket and use the state's coffers. Yeah, he got to.
He has to.
So I don't, but if you do that 2 days in advance.
Yeah.
And what was it that we were looking at yesterday? There's also was supposed to be a project called that the governor, the state had paid for about picking up trees and whatnot. That Operation something where they were supposed to come and cut the trees and chop them.
Yeah, Trump sent some money for that too.
Yeah, Trump sent money for chopping up the trees. Yeah. And then what's strange to me, and you call us and tell us what you hear, that a lot of folks were blocked in by trees.
Yeah.
A lot of folks couldn't get food and other things because of because of trees.
You know, we almost owe $1 billion in Mississippi funds.
Yeah, man, and
that's the Mississippi Shuffle, dog. That's exactly what it is.
Cut and toss crews, that's right, and we're going to jump back in that. But January, the Trump administration approved emergency declarations for Mississippi, other states too, following a severe winter storm. This is January, which included federal support for cutting down trees. So emergency cut and toss crews. Trump authorized the deployment of U.S. Forest Service hotshot teams to Mississippi. These highly trained crews were tasked with rapidly cutting and removing down trees. We got folks telling you they're going to be out of service for 4 weeks because they can't get to them. Yep. Brush and debris that were blocking roads, preventing access for emergency responders, and hindering power restoration efforts. So, emergency funding, FEMA announced $11 million in combined emergency aid for Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana. That's the amount I think we got $4 million of that. Separately, in early 2025, the Trump administration canceled $75 million in federal grants that were slated for nationwide tree planting, citing the program did not align with priorities. I don't know what that has to do with it, but I do know what that has to do with it. But
Doge cuts.
Yeah. FEMA approves millions in aid to Mississippi after winter storm. So yeah, where the money's coming in here, you know. The funding includes $3.75 million each to Mississippi and Tennessee.
What parts? Does it take the parts of Mississippi?
No. The state does that, and that's the point we're talking about, right?
Mississippi Shuffle, right there for you. Right there in your face.
And then there's a Jackson Shuffle that happens too. Let me one up you on that, KP. I mean, it's a Mississippi Shuffle, there's a Jackson Shuffle. And the Jackson Shuffle is just a little differently. The Jackson Shuffle is when you're told to be quiet and stop asking questions of candidates and just listen to what they have to say to you. That's the Jackson Shuffle. Or a candidate gets a chance to come in, make a little hotshot appearance and get out of Dodge real quick. That's the Jackson Shuffle.
Well, it makes sense, probably on there.
How you doing, young ladies?
Doing good.
I want to ask a question of you all.
Yes, sir.
And that is, you all speak about money coming to Jackson, coming to Jackson, Maine. And like I said, I voted for the last mayor. And before the vote went on, they mentioned that he had got $800 million from Washington for his water situation.
Right.
But basically, insinuated that he had stolen money, mismanaged the money. My question to you all, you young fans today, Did that actually happen?
Who did you say indicated it?
Get him out of office.
Who did you say indicated it?
Well, it's the people that were trying to get, the 17 people that were trying to take the office.
Okay, the mayors, the ones running for mayor with that full thing, okay.
That's the plantation politics that they've always used. Accusing somebody of committing a crime in order for them to basically defend their honor. It's just to get them out of office. You had 17 people running for office, but they one office just to get this young man out of office.
Yes, sir.
And this is what, you see what we ended up with, right?
Yeah, this was the reason. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. I couldn't have said it better myself.
My question is, did he not miscount $800 million?
He never
Did
got
not
control.
get $800 million come to the city of Jackson for the water department? I'll hang up now, let's speak up. Yes.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you listening. First off, thank you for listening. Thanks for calling in. I always say stuff I'm not about to not talk about. I'm like, someone's gonna call in to talk about it. But first, to answer your question directly, he never touched that $800 million.
That's the reason. That's one of the reasons that the airport didn't get annexed last time, right? Because he was trying to use the $800 million.
And this is very important, my brother. And thank you for asking that, because misinformation is how you get a mayor out of office and get another mayor in with only 17% of the people voting. That's how you do it, okay? It's misinformation. You chip away, Dr. King is a homosexual one year. Next, his wife is told he's cheating on her 17 times. Then he gets a letter sent telling him to kill himself. No comparisons, we're talking tactics. Don't think about the victims. Think about the they and how they do this. And why in the name of God would you think that has changed? So first off, look at the atmosphere. You can't open a paper without seeing a black person that works in some type of state position going to jail for stealing, first off. Just rampant everywhere, right? So that should, you do the investigation and dig into that. But to answer your question, my brother, he never touched the $800 million.
Nope.
No one in Jackson did. I mean, that right. Not the mayor, not the city council, no one. That's Ted Hennepin, the third-party manager. That's the only person that has touched that $800 million. So there are a lot of questions coming out of Jackson swirling what happened to it, because Hennepin and Horn went to D.C. looking for more money. So there's a lot of questions. You're right on the right path, sniffing there, but that's not the city of Jackson. No one in the city of Jackson was able to touch that money. What you saw them,
that money was just used for the water.
that money was supposed to just be used for the water. Yes. So what our eyes are open for is Siemens, right? Remember Siemens, not for the sake of bringing the name up. Remember what happened. The reason they almost got away with it was because you take $1 million and I find 100,000 different contractors and give them each $1,000 and tell them to go off in the wind and do their job, and I'll never contact them again. That money's gone. And when you ask me where to go and why has it not done a good job, you say, well, hey, that wasn't me that did it. I contracted out to them guys, those 100,000 people. Where they at now? But you want to find them. That's on you. I did my job. This is the business. Here they are. Them people that got into business, got out of business that quickly. Got the contract gone. So Siemens was just that was done all over the place. So now you want to look at it, and when you ride up and down the street, I see nothing but trucks from Brandon and Rankin County doing all of the work. Now, I'm just one person looking. I'm sure I don't see every piece of work happening, but that's what I see starting to happen.
That's how you know he didn't have a hand in it. Because
Yes.
it wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah. So when the brother asks, is this what they did to Lamoma, the previous mayor, to get him out of there? That's a great question, because it's completely separate from whether or not you are happy with the job he did as a mayor. We're going to take a call and then we'll touch on that a little more.
Well, it make sense probably on there.
Well, can it make sense? Oh, we lost a call back in, caller. So yes, you are. It's clear that these federal agents and most black folk in the United States of America kind of understand this. What's funny is here in Jackson and the surrounding areas, you had so many people that had ulterior motives, right? And I think that they were looking at it as, if I do something the state wants me to do, help get rid of Lumumba, I'm going to get such a pat on the back. I'm going to get such a benefit. And guess what? You can see it. Go watch and see how much their life changes after, right? I'm going to get such a pat on the back. I was his partner before. I helped work with him before, and now I'm going to be quiet when they charge him. Even though the rest of the world is like, what? He went on a boat and you took a picture, you took a picture of a paper? Him holding a paper, and that's the extent of you? It's got to be more when his files come out. So the whole U.S. people watching was like, we got to watch. Because they knew his file. We got to watch. What's this evidence you got? You tell me you got a picture of him in a room with a piece of paper in a conversation where he's trying to get business into Jackson, a pariah land, because folks have abandoned Jackson. Folks have run everything down, and we can't get anyone to sign a contract. But see, they don't know all these parts. You understand what I'm saying? No. They don't know why he's so excited to try to get someone coming and redevelop a mall. Because no one touched Jackson. That's the way it was then. We were the pariah. Governor Tate made it known any chance he could. Good day not to be in Jackson. You think a governor of a state says that and state businesses then come to that place?
In the state
Come
capital?
on, man. You've lost your mind. In the state capital, if the governor says it's a good day not to be there, that's pretty much a sign we're not doing business there right now. So no one gives you that background, America, of why the mayor was so dang excited to try to get some type of business to come in here and build the city up. You can have issues with the way he mayored. We don't care about that anymore because he's not in office. You got that right. What we're talking about is why they wanted him gone so bad. And why, as soon as he left, every single protection for the autonomy of Jackson dissipated within days.
Annex Airport.
Annex Airport. All of the money that was being made. Remember the reason for the Annex Airport. Rankin County supervisors have to give you permission. They haven't given you permission since this ordinance took effect. In a few weeks, they're not going to have to give you permission. They're going to be able to do whatever they want. So you better give it to them now.
Yeah.
Man, make that make sense.
Yeah, we sat in that meeting, them talking about that.
Yeah, they play in your face with things that don't even make sense. So it's a bully around the corner. In 3 weeks, he's going to take everything. So you might as well give him what he wants now. Why? I might as well fight for another. How does that make sense? And then flip it. If he could have everything he wants in 3 weeks, why would he offer me a deal right now? That's like a district attorney says in 3 weeks I can put you in jail for murder, but if you take the deal right now, I give you 15.
You're referring to the airport, right?
Yeah. So the lawyer for Rankin County, when they were pushing Jackson City Council to accept this deal, which Jackson City Council did, that's why we got to lump the administration and City Council in together here, right? They went ahead and walked it. Tina Clay asked some good questions.
She was the only one who gave any
some excellent questions and pushback. No, I'm going to speak on everything that was said. Some excellent questions and then the person tried to chide her like she was a child. The lawyer from Rankin County tried to chide her like she was a child. Tina, you know we told you. We
already told you this.
I already told you this. Get what we take, get what we give you. Because if you're waiting, you make us mad, and that's what he was essentially saying. You make us mad when you lose that court case, which is not even lost, by the way, when he said this.
We just
wasn't even over.
We're going to strong arm.
We just want to strong arm and take everything. So my biggest problem with that is not him bullying. My biggest problem is you think I believe that you're doing something out of the goodness of your heart, Rankin County? That's the craziness. That's the insanity. It's not really insane for us to think maybe we can get a good deal here and try to work with them. The insanity is the reason for that deal was Rankin is doing it out of the kindness of their heart. Hurry up and take it before they lose that kindness. But the last 60 years, they ain't been kind enough to let us develop around there and do anything as our city has drowned, as our water system has crumbled. They would not budge and not let us develop not a thing over there. But now all of a sudden, out of the goodness of their hearts. And you got black folks that's okay in that. You got black folks sitting on your city council. Because you're not going to make us into one of them other like Detroit cities, right? Where you make it about Stokes yelling back and forth. They tried for a moment to make Stokes like a figure like Eric Adams, rest in peace, and make it into something funny. Ain't nothing funny about what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi. And please smack, and not in real life, online. Stop your fellow Jacksonian in Mississippi when they try to do that garbage, making a meme of Stokes or a meme of this person. There's nothing funny about what's happening to $1 billion that we don't know where it's going, and we don't have better water in certain parts of our neighborhood. There's nothing funny about a city that had black autonomy that was looked at throughout the entire world as a city of soul. Not D.C., Jackson, Mississippi. Black city council, black fire chief that came and sat on this show and told you all how this current administration is taking credit for the things that he did, just stealing, doing immoral things. This is coming out the mouth of people you trusted. So when someone whittled down and say, why did they want that mayor out of there? Well, I can talk all day about why you may not have liked his style or why you may have liked his style, right? But why they wanted him gone, just Google him. Google Lumumba Airport, Google Lumumba Water, Google Lumumba School shutting down, Google Lumumba violence prevention and safety, Google Lumumba Governor Tate, and you'll see right there why they wanted him gone. And you ain't got to think nothing about how you felt about how he did in office. He's gone. He's not coming back in office. I can guarantee you he don't want that office back, right? After the way he was treated, I'm surprised he fought as hard as he did, but bigger. But Google his name next to everything this current mayor, John Horn, is dealing with right now.
And how fast the deals are happening.
And you know that, and that's why I look around and somebody that's just sitting up there being quiet, that means you're lying. You know that a request for proposal on a good day is 60, 90 days. And you talk about all this stuff took place immediately. So those are the liars. This city is not full of, has a lot of liars sitting quietly. Maybe your mother, maybe your aunt, maybe your uncle. Maybe your brother. Liar is somebody like my father used to teach me. Son,
watch out now. Watch out now.
Right now, I've almost went too far in there. There's certain lines we don't go to in there. But my father used to tell me, if you omit something, son, you're lying. If he came and said, what happened at school today? And I said to him, Daddy, it was a good day. Well, nothing really happened. And I got into a fight. You lied to me. And I was like, how? How did I lie, bro? I didn't say anything about the fight. Boom, perfect. Let's go ahead and get this belt popping, right? And that's really how it was with him. And that's what you have people doing to you. You have people walking around here right now that know good and well what's going on and they're just leaving it out. That's why when we touched on Chief Wade yesterday, we touched on Assistant Chief Grizel. We were very clear. You got to care about your life and value your life more than making other people uncomfortable. Because when someone leaves, and I respect, kudos for them for stepping away and not just taking that, but when someone leaves a building because they know that it's gas seeping into the building, and tell you, I'm not going to stand for that. You in the building with all your children. That's right. I back you up. We just back everyone up off G. You know that, right? Well, I back you up. They doing you wrong. Well, why are you leaving? That's political. We in there just dying of gas. Because we don't know why you left. Chief Wade, you at the retirement home. Now, this is, I keep calling this man at the retirement home, the rehabilitation home. Now, I respect what you did at a much higher level because you called the ACLU in. You made it known that you were uncomfortable with what's happening. But we don't know what's happening, Chief. You left the rest of 129,000 of us sitting there trying to figure out why you left. And we waited at Make It Make Sense. We put this out months ago in the air, hoping a pigeon would come flying with a message on his stand. I'm not joking. I mean that to say I know it's not comfortable to just come out yourself and say it sometimes. I did, but I know it's not comfortable. Maybe you ain't got skin like me. Maybe you're not willing to take losses like me. Okay, I'm not asking you to be me. Send it on a pigeon. Send it on a pit bull around the neck and the collar. Give it to a local young man that ain't got nothing to do. Hey, take this message right over to 90.1. Let him know exactly why I left. So we can get prepared to fight for our babies and for our children. Because right now we see a lot of moves that are happening, and me and the young man over here, we got to sit up there and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, not a text or note, nothing. Just let it happen.
Just tell them old. Talking about carrier pigeons. He said, let's bring this a little more modern. You got a text? God, damn, this dude's old. No, and let me just tell you, I think that there's going to be a documentary that we start to land in, and I want you to see anything else we want to talk about, but not a documentary, a little short, because I just feel like at this point I just need to start putting out more information just to explain the why behind the what, just facts. But I talked about the Dago Law Group the other day to you all, and I explained that the mayor, Horn, attempted to bring in the Dago Law Group into Jackson, and he ended up with pulling it back. That's not the same thing as stopping it. When you pull it back, it just means I'm kind of putting it on hold and I can put it back in the game. It's kind of like substitution to a degree, right? I'm going to sub you out for a moment, right? I tried to put you in, the crowd booed, boo, and that's the type of thing what happened here. Just go sit back down, and I'm going to try to sub you in a little later in the game, right?
How you spell that, Dago?
D-I-A, thank you, D-I-A-G-L-E, Diego, D-I-A-G-L-E. And Mr. Diego is the one that runs that, right? And another thing, I don't know if you all, you know what, I'm trying to push too much together, right? He's the one that runs that, right? So the reason the biggest problem with Diego is that the order would have brought him in, I'm looking for the order, you all. So the order would have brought him in to shape law enforcement policy, training, and compliance framework from the Jackson Police Department. The item was pulled from the agenda. I talked to you about this Monday. The item was pulled from the agenda, not rejected. Now, the difference there in city council speak is that it can be put right back into the agenda.
We've seen that happen before.
We've seen that happen before.
So once the pressure is there, they'll pull it.
That's right.
But if you don't show up one day, they will run it that same day.
That's right. That's right. You all hear that? If you don't show up one day, so they're just literally waiting to put it in there. Eric P. Daigle is the person that runs this. So who is Daigle Law Group? I just want to take a few minutes and talk about it. And if you don't get a chance to catch this, jump on the website and I'll put something up tonight that gives you full, right? So what they do is, but let's go back a little bit. Remember Elijah McCain, right? He was a young black man, autistic. He was walking home. They're not Narcan. They thought he was on drugs, so they grabbed him, pinned him down, and they administered, ketamine. And I may be saying that right, ketamine.
Yeah, ketamine.
They administered ketamine.
Yeah,
He died.
Overdose ketamine. He
That's-
went into cardiac arrest.
That's right. Thank you, young man. Overdosed, put him in cardiac arrest, and he died. Now, after his death, this is in Aurora County, the city of Aurora, Colorado. They selected this group, Daigle Law Group, who's led by this gentleman, Eric P. Daigle. They selected him for the independent investigation. Within days, the city went crazy that he was selected, right? They said that this is ridiculous. They said that this is the Aurora City Council, which is a majority white city council. They said that this firm that Mayor Horn tried to bring in here was too closely aligned with police use of force defense to credibly oversee accountability. My God. Colorado said this man is too hard. It supports police violence too much and defends against it too much for him to be a credible witness. Right? The pushback didn't stop at Aurora. Across the country, civil rights organizations raise alarm whenever they're around. Local chapters of the NAACP questioned. verbatim, whether a firm built around defending police departments from liability could credibly oversee accountability. DAIGLE, your mayor tried to bring him into your city a few days ago. The American Civil Liberties Union and local advocacy groups warned that these appointments blurred the line between independent review and legal insulation. So, what did one person say? It's the fox guarding the hen house. That's Eric Daigle. He was a state trooper, I believe, in Connecticut for 10, 11 years. He's been part of every police organization that exists. That's not the part that's big. The part is that he consistently creates use of force defenses to help stop police from being found guilty for using too much force. One of his key mottos is, if you want to stop worrying about always getting sued for use of force as a police department, you set your own bar on how you use force and make them adhere to it. So this is who you're talking about we're trying to bring in. After all of that, which was all available about him, all the national scrutiny, civil rights organizations raised concern, the young man, Elijah McClain, that was big in the news. After all of that, Mayor Horn felt, this is why we say we're not picking up, we're talking about decisions. After all of that, Mayor Horn and this city council felt that it was okay to put them on the agenda to even bring forward into a city that is over 80% African American. Make that make sense.
Preemptively before they chose.
He's on the list.
It's the fact that that firm, there was no list. He's bringing in a firm that defends against police brutality
Before
the new chief comes in and brutalizes people.
This is happening.
This is what he's doing. I mean, I didn't think there was a new chief coming to brutalize people. What we're saying is, why are you bringing in a firm that defends against police brutality before you even found a police chief? DAIGLE. I can tell you why, perhaps. You got a few people that maybe. Wendell Watts, longtime Jackson Police Department commander. He's now the assistant chief of patrol operations. Multiple civil lawsuits, including excessive force claims. Yes, they were dismissed. It still happened. He's publicly stated that litigation comes with the territory of policing, right? He's also said he's ready on day one. Readiness doesn't disrupt systems. That's all I'm going to say. It just supports them. But I have another name that may tell you why Mayor Horn wants to bring in a group to defend against extreme force. LeJon Roberts, Lejon. That name sound familiar? A 27-year veteran of the NOPD, New Orleans Police Department. Let me give you a little background on Mr. LeJon. In 2020, now we're talking about suppressing people. We're talking about folks that will let you get away with stuff. During George Floyd's protests, he served in a command role during a police operation. Y'all may remember this. It was Crescent City Connection Bridge. There were protesters on the bridge. They were never accused of attacking anybody. They were never accused of violence. They tried to walk, and they got shot with bullets, rubber bullets, and tear gas, right? It was a federal class action lawsuit that alleged the force was deployed against demonstrators. The chief at that time backed away from it and said, I gave permission for tear gas only. When they asked him, well then, who was the commanding SWAT officer on the bridge? He said, LeJon Roberts. Now, that may just be one thing. You say, well, Target could have got, yeah, it could. Let me tell you another thing. He also got chided by the police review department for harassing an activist to the point that his own review department said that's too much. So he and a group of officers made so many visitors to this activist's house. To think about what we're talking about. We're talking about bringing in a law group getting ready to defend against whatever you're going to do. And then even thinking about a police chief that beat heads with rubber bullets and with tear gas while they were they weren't even protesting. It was actually they were standing up with signs.
It was a march.
It was a march. And an African-American SWAT team leader, you start to see, remember when, let's pause for a second. I want to help everyone catch up. Remember we talked about Judge Henry Wingate, right? How some of the things he says, if a white judge said it, that was appointed by Ronald Reagan, the black, they would go crazy. If he called Dr. Martin Luther King's institution upon his death, Poor People's Campaign, if he called members of that campaign, of NAACP, of any of those campaigns, racist for asking for transparency, a white judge would probably be sanctioned by his own court here in Mississippi. Because they'd be like, we don't need that type of smoke. But when a black person does it, what you going to say? So keep your eyes open on a black police chief who felt it was fine to shoot rubber bullets into crowds when people were upset about a black man getting his neck nailed on for 8 minutes until he died. But they were non-violent. Rubber bullets. First they said that rubber bullets weren't shot, it was just tear gas. Then the police chief was like, backed away. Listen, man, that's LeJon, man, that wasn't me. And that's essentially what he did on the camera. So that's important because what you do, so when you look at choices like this, you have Wendell who's got charges of excessive force against him. You got this person who was sanctioned by the police department for harassing an activist and who they opened a probe on for shooting bullets, and they made a public apology to the city for those things. Go look it up.
What was the activists protesting against, or what did he stand against?
Oh my goodness, he was trying to, I mean, the things that we're talking about through this whole thing, I looked up a few of the things that he was talking about because they were standing there with signs, and it was, I mean, talking about, community control over police. They were doing a lot of violent killing. That's what he was talking about. Oh. Community control. By community control, he meant transparency when you shoot these children. Like Jalen Lewis, when someone dies, to give us transparency and asking, and he's a city councilman now. Picture that. Jackson, we can do the same thing here. He's a city councilman now.
Okay.
So now they got to pay attention to it. They did it to the wrong person because they didn't realize tides were changing.
Okay.
So this is who Jackson is, Mayor Horn and his administration inviting. I'm going to keep telling you all. And guess what? What people hoped as we start to land this plane, what people hoped was that the more, the type of thing, the more I say, the more it looks like I'm just saying it, right? So one of two things is going to happen. You're going to get impatient with people doing these things and playing in your face, or you're going to get impatient with me telling you that people are playing in your face. They bargained on the latter. I knew it would be the first the whole time because you're beautiful people. You're amazing people. There's no way in hell that you are going to listen to what I'm saying and decide I'm sick of hearing the truth. Now, I knew if I was lying to you, if I was playing with you, if I had my own gains, if I wanted to become famous, if all I cared about was me and KP getting on the screen, I knew you would smell through that like a dog in the middle of a dump yard. But I also knew that the moment that truth came through, there was no way you'd walk away from that. And that's what's happening now. So look up, that's your homework from tonight till tomorrow, unless KP going to give you some extra homework. Look up Daigle, D-A-I-G-L-E, law group. Look up its leader, Eric P. Daigle. Serves as the chairman of the legal section for the National Tactical Officers Association. This man knows everything about forensics. He knows everything about how to make sure if an officer does do something, the chances of him getting convicted are low. So, John Horn, who are you bringing in that we need Daigle for? That's our homework for tonight till tomorrow. Who is Mayor Horn, who has full authority over this decision? Who is he bringing in that he needs Eric P. Daigle to create a defense in advance for? And I know you rescinded it, sir, because we talked about it. But I know you're going to try to put it right back on there. Because one thing about Daigle, I'll tell you all I learned. I'll leave the rest up for you. You're going home with him. You got that badge on, you're going home with him. They got to have a camera in your head. This is the type of man that helped create scenarios to say, well, yeah, the cops shouldn't have punched him in his face. Listen, but once you punched him in his face, the reaction to getting punched in the face was too threatening. That shooting was justified. This is the type of man you're talking about. And I read up on you, brother, all night. Got to if you're coming into the city. This is the type of man you're talking about. That would justify me punching you in your face for no reason. When you recoil with your hands up, which is your natural recoil, I shoot you in your face. And he says, well, yes, the first act was wrong, but it still facilitated the fact that the officer's life was in jeopardy. He put his life in jeopardy. This is who Mayor Horn tried to bring in. Let me end this by saying this. Go to the city council website. Go look at the agenda. I think it's item 13. You know I don't play with you all and tell you all things for the sake of telling you. You're going to see Daigle Law Group, then just go Google that man and you're going to see everything pop up about who he is. About all these complaints, all these angry parents, all the times he testified in court and got cops going home after shooting people, and it was clear that they were wrong. And that's who your mayor is bringing in. So tomorrow we'll talk about some next steps. Same way with the water, when we pressure, stop getting that, do not raise that water bill. You need to pressure him just for even bringing this group in front of you. Because that signifies that something's about to start happening to you good people. Because you don't really need a lawyer if you're going to start beating up criminals. I hate to say that, but that's how they look at it. Read the writing on the wall. I need a lawyer if I'm going to put my hands on somebody's alpha son, or somebody's son that go to a good school, or somebody's son that got a parent in the government, or somebody's son whose mother's a teacher or a preacher or a good person, a good Samaritan. That's when I get Daigle and him in there. Now I'm ready to hurt some regular Negroes, and I need a good group that'll make sure I don't go to jail for it. So jump onto our Facebook page. I'm going to put some more information about that group and about the dangers of bringing someone like that in. And I'm going to put some more information about some of these choices. Any last words as we land the K to the P?
The gallery is filling up, like I always say.
Yes, sir.
You know, you got Dago and all these people that he's lining up with. Where do we go from here? Who else he might be? Y'all got any suggestions who else he might bring in?
And tell us if you do, but my suggestion as I end is always this. Don't stop trying to hit these stars when there's folks standing right in front of you that are letting these people in. So everything I'm telling you, don't care nothing about them people, Dago or none of them. Dago can't come in if Horn doesn't let him in, right? The working age couldn't be lowered to 14 unless the city council agreed on it. Let's keep the eyes on the prize, and let's keep the focus on these people that's letting this draft in. Because we're going to be warm soon, Jackson. Just keep doing what we're doing, making it make sense. Until tomorrow, for my co-host and myself, Tarek Abdul-Tawwab, we love you, Jackson. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.